Well, gaslighting is a topic we have seen in the headlines over the last couple of weeks, and we've seen the word, but do we really know what it means? Two University of Washington professors are taking this topic head on, and they're teaming up with a mental health professional to host a town hall on Monday called Gaslighting in Government. Casey and Travis are here with more.
Joining us now, UW Communication Professor and Department Chair David Domke. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
So first off, what is gaslighting and what do we mean when we say that?
Gaslighting is a mental health term that we're now applying to our political arena, in which a person will start to make a set of claims about the world that are clearly false. They just are false, and they can be shown to be false, but the individual is dogged. They stick to those claims, and for a variety of reasons, whether it's the relationship they're in, maybe it's the person who hearing the claims can't verify the falsity of these, that person who's hearing them begins to question whether or not, well, maybe I'm mistaken in this. Maybe these really are true. And it can be very sinister and damaging to people's mental health. You can begin to doubt, you begin to not trust people. You begin to doubt your own self, your ability to kind of think, and you get confused. And so what we're trying to examine is how this is occurring, and particularly the Trump administration seems to have this down as an art form. And even though the size of the crowds might be this, he says this, even though the pictures show this, he still says this. And we begin to doubt, like, well, maybe there was some manipulation going on here, not only with the press, but with the Secret Service and the National Park Services, right, in terms of their crowd claims.
So this is a really simplistic example, but let's say, for example, you and Casey both are like, Travis is a really terrible host, really, really terrible host, and you just repeat it and repeat it, and I am probably a really terrible host. But like, and I just start to think, well, maybe I am really a terrible host, and then other people start saying it, and I'm like, well, maybe I should not be doing this, even though I'm like, well, I've won awards and I'm this and that, but I might be like, well, maybe I really am not as good as I thought I was, for example.
Right.
That
well,
kind of gaslighting is you just...
The psychology of that is exactly right. And you or a viewer might look at this and say, well, that's silly. Why would you doubt yourself, Travis? Well, that's human nature, is that you begin to doubt that. And when someone in power, a religious leader, a teacher, a parent, a president, begins to make these claims over and over and over again, then we actually have been taught in our society to give deference to these individuals. So we're not crazy when we listen to them. We're actually like, well, you know, I don't know, that person has a PhD, or that person got 50 million votes or 100 million votes. So the psychology of it works just like that, in that the repetition of the claims over time begin to make people doubt their own perceptions. And in fact, they can be manipulated then. In obvious, horrible examples, when someone is in an abusive relationship and they say, you're abusing me, and the person says, I'm not abusing you, you're just thinking that, right? And they begin to doubt their ability to kind of accurately perceive the relationship. And so we're concerned about the way this is happening in politics now, these kinds of claims without evidence that get stuck to, and people begin to doubt their own ability to be accurate citizens.
I'm going to be very blunt. I am sure that we have Trump supporters watching this right now, and they're saying, you're just saying that because maybe you didn't vote for him, or maybe you're just saying that because you're of a different party. Or I think that what we heard a lot through the election was that people who voted for Trump voted for him because of his candor, and thought that what he said was off the cuff and didn't seem so restricted the way most politicians might see. And so for them, it feels true to them. Is there something to the way someone makes you feel when they're speaking versus trying to vet exactly what they're saying? And how is that different than, you know, most politicians?
Right. Trump is a tremendous politician in terms of connecting with people, and that ability to kind of transfer his kind of stage presence, his wisdom in connecting with people does not actually translate, though, to accurate policy claims. These are different things. And so whether or not you voted for Donald Trump or Hillary Clinton or another candidate, the issue at this time for a president of the United States is not the claims that you make. The issue is, what are the reality that's behind that? How many millions of people have health care or don't have health care? What about people from these 7 countries? Are they truly dangerous that you're trying to prevent from coming to the United States? What about the reality of whether the press itself is an enemy of the state? Okay, we're not in the business anymore of a candidate who's trying to run for office and make claims. We're in the business of someone who has the nuclear codes in their hands, and so it's not enough to make a claim that another country is terrible. You got to have evidence of that. So regardless of whether or not someone trusts the media or not, at this moment in time, let's look at the other sources in the arena that make a difference: the military, the CIA. CIA, the FBI, our police, our teachers, our religious leaders, if we're beginning to get some convergence around interpretations of the way the world is about who's dangerous, who's not dangerous, then we need to, if Donald Trump is the outlier in that, not take his word for it, begin to say, no, you're the one that is not making the truthful claims. It could be Barack Obama making those claims. If you are not able to sync up with other arbiters of truth, of reality, then we can't give that person license to continue to make us doubt things. That is a damaging choice for us to make. Just as surely if a parent was telling us something that was just demonstrably not true, like run off that cliff, you'll be fine. We in our society would not say it's fine for the parent to say that. We would say that parent is dangerous.
What if we've gotten to a place in our society where all of these institutions that used to be arbiters of truth just aren't anymore? What if it isn't just the president? I mean, I think about someone who says, I believe the president is telling me the truth, and I don't think the media, the clergy, the military, I think all of these have been politicized, and we live in a world that's so polarized. The president is the only person, the executive branch is the only person that I do trust, and that's why I voted for him.
Sure. I'm not really able to try to persuade that individual. I think that's bordering on kind of deification of an individual, right? We live in a democracy in which if we're going to be really good citizens, then we need to be open to different perspectives, not put all of our trust in one individual. That's more of a dictatorship, right? And we know what has happened in world history when that's occurred. So, it's not an issue of whether Donald Trump is the problem or the person. The issue is how do we solve issues and agree upon the world? How do we talk? How do we move forward? And even, you're entitled to your own opinion, absolutely, but you're not entitled to making up facts right here and now. You can't tell me that vaccines flatly don't make a difference health-wise, because that is dangerous, all right? It's fine for you to think that, but that is not true, all right? That is not true. And you don't get a platform in our society to say that without us challenging you. I'm a professor. I believe in knowledge. I believe in truth. I think we can find it. Journalists seek this every day. And so good journalists. And so the reality is that as a citizen, I would just hope that no one would ever take what one individual says as the truth. We're not talking about a religious belief here. We're talking about a democratic functioning environment.
Professor David Domke, really great insight. Appreciate it. And we know that the town hall is sold out on Monday, but you guys have town halls quite frequently, and it's a great way to get involved and to get a conversation going.
And I would just hope that citizens would look at a variety of sources, not just news, but a variety of sources, and make decisions based upon that, not based upon a single individual. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.